Okay, I have two questions from Robin K. The first one is, I have to ask you, when you sat on the bench outside the hospital after you came back from the forest, did you experience an immediate change? Something like what Urquhart Tolle described? Or was the transformation gradual over the years? Okay, two answers to that one question. The first answer is the first change was very quick. It was almost immediate. But then the second part of the change took much longer. So I'll describe the first part of that change. Okay, so I was sitting on the park bench, and next to me I had that big bag full of all the important things that I valued, drugs and alcohol. Yep. And it was a beautiful sunny day, much like today. And I was there and I was thinking, if I just had one person that I could tell all my problems to, I'd be okay. Not a good thought for a very lonely person, because all of a sudden I had a really dark, deep despair in the pit of my gut. And I remember thinking, when I was a child, I used to have this raging fire in my belly, that passion for life. And as I sat there on the park bench that day, there was just this tiny little ember. It's just smouldering, and I just wanted to reach inside and put it out. And in that moment, I had an epiphany. And basically, what happened to me was I was standing there in a fog, and I couldn't see past my nose. Then very slowly, this fog started to recede. And as the fog receded, I became aware that I was standing in a fighting position. I was holding a double-edged sword, and I was ready for the next fight. I was super vigilant, super angry, and I was ready for the next fight. I was always ready for the next fight. I'd spent my whole life fighting. Then slowly the fog receded, and I could see all around me all the devastation, all the destruction from all the fights that I'd had, all the battles, the life battles that I'd had. Then the fog receded even further, and I was looking around for that, for who I was going to fight, and there was no one there. Then the fog receded all the way to the horizon, and I still couldn't see anyone. Then I realized, all my life I'd been fighting myself. I'd never been fighting other people. All my struggles were within me. So I tried to throw that sword away, but I couldn't. I couldn't throw the sword away. It was like a part of me. Then all of a sudden, I was sitting on the park bench again. That's when I made that decision, or I made a decision that I would do whatever I needed to do not to be the person that I was there that day. And I got up and I walked away from the park bench, and I left that bag of drugs and alcohol sitting there. And I just walked away. That was a big change. Immediately there was a change in me, because all of a sudden I didn't want to fight anymore. All the fight was gone. I'd resigned to the fact that I was the cause of all my problems. And somehow I had to look at all these things, understand them, and try and change them. That took a very long time, a very, very long time. But one of the things I did understand is that if I was going to change me, like just in little pieces, I could change all of me. I could change the way the way I viewed the world. I could change my attitude. I could change who I was. So, and that took much longer. So there were two parts to that change. And there was an immediate change, and then there was that follow-up and the maintenance of the changing. And that took quite a while. Okay, now, I think there's a second question there from Robin K. Also, I would love to hear you talk about learning, your struggles in university and how you overcame them. Okay, from the time I left that park bench to the time I was actually in university, well, I got up off the park bench, it was in the year 2000, yeah. By the time I got to university, it was 2004. So there's that change right there. Okay, I did do a bridging course before I got to university, and I actually found that very challenging too. I still had moments where I got really, really angry with me, angry at my inability to do things. I remember once I picked up a computer. I was going to throw this computer, and the tutor said to me, she was a really nice person, and she said to me, "Do you think that's really a good idea?" And I'm looking at her and I'm thinking, probably not. Okay, so I'll put it back down. But when I realised I was going to go to university, it was very, very intimidating. Very, very intimidating. I mean, it's a whole bureaucracy that I didn't understand. And, what I did is I quite literally did the next thing I needed to do. So going through my application process, I filled in the forms. I'd submit the forms. Then I'd wait for a response. Then when I got the response, I would respond. Look, I was well and truly towards the end of my first year in university before I even knew what an undergraduate degree was. I didn't understand what units were. I didn't understand what a major was or a core unit. I didn't know how many units you had to have a degree. As it happened, I needed 24 units to complete, pass 24 units to have a complete degree. That's 4 units a session or a semester. But I also did some units over the summer in the summer school as well. And there was one semester I did 5 units. I didn't have a lot else to do, so I studied 5 units in one session. And there were a lot of challenges. And one particular moment, there was a tutor. We were in a group situation, and the tutor asked us to think about something that happened to us when we were in our childhood. And I thought, wait there, there's an assumption in that. And the assumption is that we all had happy childhoods. And I just got really angry and I walked out. She apologised after a while, we worked it out. So university was very intimidating for me, right up until I finished my undergraduate.